Joshua chapter 8 breakdown. All right, so whenever you're ready, brother.
Joshua chapter 8, verse 1 says, And the Lord Yahweh God said unto Joshua, Fear not, neither be thou dismayed. Take all the people of war with thee, and arise. Go up to Ai. See, I have given into thy hand the kingdom of Ai, and
King of Ai.
the king of Ai,
Yeah.
and his people, and his city, and his land.
Right. So now remember in Joshua 7, Ai whooped us, but now we've taken over Ai. We have his king in possession and the people. We have him locked down now. All right.
And thou shalt do unto Ai and her king as thou did unto Jericho and her king. Only the spoil thereof and the cattle thereof shall ye take for a prey into yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Lay thee in ambush for the city behind it.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
So Joshua arose and all the people of war to go up against Ai, and Joshua chose out 30,000 mighty men of valor, and sent them away by night.
Right. Valor just means strength. Mighty men of strength. But valor is strength.
Write that down.
And Joshua chose out 30,000 mighty men of valor and sent them away by night.
And he commanded them, saying, Behold, ye shall lie in wait against the city, even behind the city. Go not very far from the city, but be ye all ready.
Mm-hmm. Be ready when I say be ready, y'all.
And I and all the people that are with me will approach into the city, and it shall come to pass, when they come out against us, as at the first, that we will flee before them.
Mm-hmm.
For they will come out after us, till we have drawn them from the city. For they will say, They flee before us, as at the first, therefore we will flee before them.
Okay.
Then ye shall arise from the ambush and seize upon the city, for the Lord Yahweh your God will deliver it into your hands.
So they're tricking them and ambushing them so they can nab them up. And I and all the people that are with me, this is 5 again, that are with me will approach into the city, and it shall come to pass when they come out against us. When they come out against us, as at the first, like they did the first time, that we will flee before them. So they're going to run. For they will come out after us, so they're going to chase us, till we have drawn them from the city. So we're going to let them chase us until we get far enough from the city. For they will say, they flee before us as at the first. Them Negroes running again like they did the first time. They still scared of us. That's what they're going to be saying. They still scared of us. Therefore we will flee before them. In verse 7 again, then ye shall rise up from the ambush. Then y'all come and seize upon the city. For the Lord Yahweh God, your God, will deliver it into your hand. So when we pull them out and they chasing us, then y'all go into the city and take over. All praises.
All praises.
All right, let's keep going.
And it shall be, when ye have taken the city,
And this is verse 8.
that ye shall set the city on fire, according to the commandment of the Lord Yahweh God shall ye do. See, I have commanded you.
Right. So people would tell you, Christians would tell you that the Most High God is nowhere near violence. He doesn't like, when you did certain things that cause violence or men. If God was in control of the world, there would be no wars and these things. God is the one who's controlling these wars. He's the one who's making these wars. Because why? Because you heathens don't know better. You heathens ain't got, you don't think right. It's because of you heathens. That's why the Most High believe in war. Because you so-called Christians and heathen, you don't believe in the Most High God. And you don't believe in his people because you sold his people. You bought and sold his people. That's why he believes in war, because of you. Because of the way you think. Your idols, your false God, Allah and the rest of them. That's why the Most High believe in war. Because he needed it for you. Let's read that again, verse 8.
And it shall be, when ye have taken the city, that ye shall set the city on fire, according to the commandment of the Lord Yahweh God shall ye do.
So set this place on fire, burn it down according to the commandment of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua. According to your God, you burn that place down. That ain't got nothing to do with white Jesus in your churches. Nothing. So stop it. See, I have commanded you. All right, verse 9.
Joshua therefore sent them forth, and they went to lie in ambush and abode between Bethel and Ai, on the west side of Ai. But Joshua lodged that night among the people. And Joshua rose up, and Joshua rose up early in the morning and numbered the people and went up, he and the elders of Israel, before the people of Ai. And all the people, even the people of war that were with him, went up and drew nigh, and came before the city, and pitched on the north side of Ai. Now there was a valley between them and Ai.
Go ahead.
He took about 5,000 men and set them to lie in ambush between Bethel and Ai, on the west side of the city.
We still set them up. We're still setting them up. Go ahead. The Most High, he's playing chess. Go ahead.
And when they had
They playing checkers, but we playing chess.
And when they had set the people, even all the host that was on the north of the city, and their liars in the wait on the west of the city, Joshua went that night into the midst of the valley.
Go ahead.
And it came to pass, when the king of Ai saw it, they hasted and rose up early, and the men of the city went out against Israel to battle, he and all his people, at a time appointed, before the plain. But he wist not there was liars in the ambush against him behind the city.
They had no idea that they were being ambushed. Go ahead.
And Joshua and all Israel made as if they were beaten before them, and fled by the way of the wilderness. And all the people that were in Ai were called together to pursue after them. And they pursued after Joshua, and were drawn away from the city.
So again, we're getting them away. So we're lessening the amount of men that they have by luring them away, acting like we're afraid of them again. Because in their mind, they were convinced God ain't with these people no more. Now we got them. Now we got them. So we're luring them away, troop at a time, or garret at a time. We're luring them away. Go ahead.
And there was not a man left in Ai or Bethel that went not out after Israel.
So all of the men were out after us now, because they're not scared anymore. There are no men hiding, saying I'm not going to fight. They fighting now. Every man, all of them left the city, chasing after us. Go ahead.
And they left the city open.
Left the city wide open.
And pursued after Israel.
Okay.
And the Lord.
So all the men are just chasing us through the wilderness, all through around. They're chasing us, and there's nobody left in the city. Wow. That's like when you're boxing, they teach you to keep your hands tight together, because you don't want that to be open. So they wide open like this, wide open. We have nothing but target now. That's wisdom.
Yeah.
The Lord is a man of war.
And the Lord Yahweh God said unto Joshua, stretch out the spear that is in thy hand toward Ai, for I will give it into thine hand. And Joshua stretched out the spear that he had in his hand toward the city. And the ambush arose quickly out of their place. And they ran as soon as he had stretched out his hand. And they entered into the city and took it, and haste and set the city on fire. And when the men of Ai looked behind them, they saw, and behold, the smoke of the city ascend up to heaven. And they had no power to flee this way or that way. And the people that fled to the wilderness turned back upon the pursuers. And when Joshua and all Israel saw that the ambush had taken the city, and the smoke of the city ascended, and turned against and slew the men of Ai. And the other issued out of the city against them So they were in the midst of Israel, some on this side and some on that side, and they smote them. So they let none of them remain or escape.
Mm-hmm.
And the king of Ai they took alive and brought him to Joshua.
Mm.
And it came to pass when Israel had made an end of slaying all the inhabitants of Ai in the field, in the wilderness, there wherein they chased them, and when they were all fallen on the edge of the sword until they were consumed,
Mm-hmm.
that all the Israelites returned into Ai and smote it with the edge of the sword.
Right.
And so it was that all that fell that day, both of men and women, were 12,000, even all the men of Ai.
Read that again.
And so it was that all that fell that day, both men and women, were 12,000, even all the men of Ai.
Right. How many people did we kill?
12,000
12,000 men.
men and women.
So we killing everybody. Everybody. And everything. Because when the Most High tells us to kill our enemies, He tells us to kill everything and the animals too. Kill the animals too. God knows what they do with the animals. Because we know what Edomites do with the animals. Disgusting. Kill everything. The men, the women, the children, and their animals. These are the people that have taught us how to live. These people that the Most High is telling us to kill because they're so wicked. These are the people that we learn from. These are the people that our children go to school and learn from. Their traditions, their habits, their ways, their thought processes all come from people that the Most High is telling us to murder because of the way they think. So keep that in mind, Israel. Keep that in mind when your children are with you, what they're learning. So it's very important to make sure you're instilling these things on them on a daily basis. Don't let these wicked people who the Most High tell us to murder, don't let them teach your children more than you're teaching your children. Keep that in mind, Israel. All right, where we at? 26. All right.
For Joshua drew not his hand back, wherewith he stretched out the spear, until he had utterly destroyed all the inhabitants of Ai.
All the inhabitants, the same thing he's going to do to America. All the inhabitants are going to be destroyed. Not just the men, not just the women, not just the children, sons, daughters, and the animals. Everything's going to be gone. Everything is going to be destroyed. That's how your God works. Christians won't tell you that. Christians won't teach you that. They want to teach you what makes them feel good, and whatever's making you feel good. That's what they want to teach. So you can continue bringing your money and giving it to them so they can make a living, so they don't have to work like you. They want you to go to work and give them your money, and they keep telling you lies and things to make you feel good to go to work the next week and be miserable at work. Now you're miserable again because you didn't get anything. You went to the church, gave your money, but you ain't got nothing. You got nothing in return. There's no hope for what? For America? It makes no sense. You have people in Dallas praying for their football team to beat people in Pittsburgh. It makes no sense. It absolutely makes no sense. The things that they taught us makes no sense. None whatsoever. None. All right, let's keep going.
27 says, only the cattle and the spoil of the city, only the cattle and the spoil of that city Israel took for a prey unto themselves, according to the word of the Lord Yahweh God, which he commanded Joshua.
Go ahead.
And Joshua burnt Ai.
Only the cattle they was able to take, not everything else, just the cattle. Beef is delicious.
And Joshua burnt Ai, and made it an heap forever, even a desolation unto this day.
Mm-hmm. Still destroyed to this day.
And the king of Ai he hanged on the tree until eventide, and as soon as the sun was down, Joshua commanded that they should take his carcass down from the tree and cast it at the entering of the gate of the city, and raised thereon a great heap of stones that remaineth unto this day.
So, and the king of Ai, he hang on a tree until the sun went down. And as soon as the sun was down, Joshua commanded that they should take his dead body down from that tree and cast it at the entrance, at the entering of the gate of the city. So when you come into that city, you see his dead body hanging. And raised thereon a great heap of stones that remain unto this day. Wow. That's deep, yo. That's deep. That's deep. Wow, let's keep reading.
Then Joshua built an altar unto the Lord Yahweh God of Israel in Mount
Ebal. And Joshua built an altar unto the Lord Yahweh God of Israel in Mount Ebal. Go ahead.
As Moses, the servant of the Lord Yahweh God, commanded the children of Israel, as it is written in the book of the law of Moses, an altar of whole stones, over which no man have lifted up any iron, and they offered thereon burnt offerings unto the Lord Yahweh God, and sacrificed peace offerings.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrote there upon the stones a copy of the law of Moses, which he wrote in the presence of the children of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And all Israel and their elders and officers and their judges stood on the side of the ark, and on that side before the priests, the Levites, which bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord Yahweh God, as well the stranger as he hath was born among them.
Right, so the strangers, the ones that weren't born in Israel, was no different than the ones that were born in Israel. They all be the same, as well as the stranger as he that was born among them. Go ahead. So the stranger was treated like the one that was born among them. Go ahead.
Half of them over against Mount Gerizim, and half of them over against Mount Ebal, as Moses, the servant of the Lord Yahweh God, had commanded before, that they should bless the people of Israel. And afterward, he read all the words of the law, the blessings and the curses, according to all that was written in the book of the law.
Where can we find the blessings and the curses?
Deuteronomy 28.
Verses what to what?
The blessings is verses 1 to 14, and the curses is 15 to 68.
Exactly. All praises. Let's keep
Praise. 35 says, there was not a word of all that Moses commanded, which Joshua read not before all the congregation of Israel, with the women and the little ones and the strangers that were conversing among them.
There was not a word of all that Moses' commandment, which Joshua read not before all the congregation of Israel. There was not a word of all that Moses commanded, which Joshua read before all the congregation of Israel, with the women and the little ones and the strangers that were conversing among them. Google that word conversing. So everybody got to hear this. Everybody got to hear these words of Moses. Everyone. Before all the congregation of Israel. So remember in Deuteronomy 29:1 and Deuteronomy 1:1, the Most High is dealing with all of Israel. Not most of Israel, but all of Israel.
Conversing, it says, familiar with or knowledgeable about something.
You got any similars?
Yes, sir. It says, acquainted with, at home with, no stranger to, well versed in, well informed about, well up on, knowledgeable about, informed about, abreast of, appraised of, what is it? Appraised of, up to date on, experienced in.
Right, so the word we're going to use is acquainted with. So there was not a word of all that Moses commanded. There was not a word that all that Moses commanded, which Joshua read before all of the congregation of Israel, with the women, he read with the women, the little ones, and the strangers that were acquainted with among them. So all the strangers that were with us, acquainted with us, not the ones who just wanted to be in Egypt or whatever, they didn't want anything to do with us, but all the strangers that were amongst us, all of Israel got this understanding. All of them. Because we know there are two types of strangers. There are two types of Gentiles. We know that. All right? So that is the breakdown with Joshua 8. Lord willing, someone was edified, or some ones were edified, and Joshua 8 breakdown. And with that, we say, Shalom.
Shalom.